You know, it's your first YouTube video when you record the whole thing and your mic is off. 2 years ago, I was a college senior getting ready to walk across the graduation stage, and I was honestly filled with anxiety about what's coming next. And if you're in college, or if you're a senior, or if you're anywhere in life, I'm sure you understand what that feeling is like. But now I can happily say I'm a 23-year-old business owner traveling the world, and I wanted to share how I got to this point. I'm 23 years old and I grew up in the Bay Area and went to college in the Bay Area at Santa Clara University, go Broncos, and I graduated in 2023. And honestly, throughout college, I was kind of confused about what I should be doing. I knew that I was interested in the creative arts, I was interested in history, but that was not really something that aligned with my family's values. My family was super business oriented, and I was always pushed to do accounting, finance, and AI studies. But that was not really my thing. Although I did try everything out. And I do say you should try everything, honestly, and figure out what's right for you. I decided to find a balance between the two. And some of you may think, why didn't you just do what you wanted to do? Or some of you may think, why don't you just do what your family wants you to do and be a good daughter? You know what? I found what was right for me, and I really just hope the same for everybody. So I decided to get my degree in marketing. Marketing was a good crossroads between the two of what I wanted and what my family wanted. Because I found with marketing, I could be really creative and think of customer psychology and think of creative campaigns, all while also thinking about what the business strategy is, what the goal for the business is, how do I bring in the most money for that business. And that was honestly very mentally stimulating, so I thought marketing was a great middle ground. And I also did a minor in entrepreneurship. Lots of schools don't offer that minor, but if yours does and you're interested in starting a business, I highly recommend going down that path, because you could take some classes that are really helpful in understanding the basic foundation of what you need from an operations perspective, from a mindset perspective, and from a team perspective to have a successful business. And I was never the kind that really wanted to create a unicorn business or like a really fancy fintech startup or anything like that. I really just wanted to have the tools I needed to be able to start my own business, whatever that may be one day. And that ended up working out in my favor, which I'll get into down the line. So I graduated college and I was jobless, as most college people are, unless you landed a really good internship that did not rescind your offer because they weren't assholes. Anyways, so I was on the hunt, essentially. I applied to hundreds of jobs, did not hear back from most of them, but I really knew I wanted to work at a marketing agency, and I'll explain why. If you work at a marketing agency, it's kind of like the best way to get everything you can imagine out of marketing. Marketing isn't just one thing. There's so many different kinds of marketing, which I would not have honestly known unless I went into this agency. There's email marketing, SMS marketing, social media, paid advertising, Google advertising, SEO. The list honestly is endless for what you can do with marketing. And if you go into an agency, you can, first of all, get exposure to all those different fields of marketing, and second of all, get exposed to tons of different companies within different industries so that you can learn how to do marketing for a specific industry, but more importantly, learn how to be adaptable and learn how to learn about an industry and what it takes to be successful in that industry. I think those were the biggest things that I learned out of working at an agency. And I always had this itch in the back of my head that I wanted to start my own agency or be a freelancer or start my own company someday. I didn't really know exactly what it was, but I knew I wanted to do my own thing. And I really felt that, especially working at that agency I was at after college, because I really did not like answering to a boss. And I think a lot of people feel that way, and a lot of people are totally fine with that and want that direction, and that's you, that's totally fine. And I wish sometimes I was like that, but I'm not. So my goal was really just get at least 1 to 2 years at that agency. I realized I could not do 2 years, so my minimum goal was get 1 year at the agency, just so I have that on my resume, and so that when I do eventually branch out and do my own thing, I can say that I have a year of experience under a top agency in the country and be more credible to whatever clients I try to build in the future, which eventually worked to my advantage, by the way. About 9 months had passed. I was working at this agency. I had a book of my own clients. I was managing about $30,000 in revenue per month, which was quite a bit. It was pretty overwhelming. I was working long hours. It was a great experience though. It makes you very organized and proactive when you work at an agency. You have to be, otherwise you're not going to do well and they're going to fire you. So you become very skilled. I was doing email and SMS marketing, and I learned that there's a lot of nuances when it comes to that space that I had no idea about before I joined my agency. So about 9 months had passed. It was around July of 2024, and I had about three-ish months left at my agency that I was trying to hit for that 1 year goal. And I was really itching at that point. Like, I really wanted to get out, but I knew I needed to set up my foundation for my own business to be able to be successful in what I wanted to do. And at the same time, I was also thinking about traveling the world with my fiance. We were living in San Diego at the time, and our apartment was honestly so beautiful and so amazing, but I just didn't feel like I wanted to stay there for my whole life. I wanted to see what else was out there beyond California, because I grew up in the Bay Area, beyond the US, see what other countries are like, and hence the fact I'm in Vietnam right now, which I will touch on in a second. Around July of last year, I started laying the foundation for my business. I really focused on the operations side of it, so registering the business, trademarking the name, getting my website set up, getting my email and web domains all registered, and making sure all my accounts were all under one ecosystem, because you want to be very organized when it comes to that. And honestly, if you take those classes in school, if you take a class online on how to do those things, those are super helpful. But the biggest tool that helped me was honestly AI and ChatGPT. Like, I was asking it so many questions about what exact form am I supposed to submit, like silly questions like that probably any lawyer could help you out with, but I didn't have the money for a lawyer. So I just made sure I cross-verified across different AI platforms like ChatGPT, Gemini. Grok wasn't really a thing at that point, but Gemini and ChatGPT were the two main ones that I was using to help me with that registering process. And honestly, it went pretty smoothly. Obviously, a lot of hours went into it, but I can imagine it would have been way more difficult without having AI helping me out with what was correct and what was not. Simultaneously, I started thinking about how I was going to get my own clients. And luckily, my amazing fiance has a sales background, so he helped me really understand what it took to do cold email outreach. And for those of you who don't know, cold email outreach is basically setting up a sequence of emails to reach out to your target client base. So he helped me set that up, and I started launching out emails and offering pro bono contracts. So that basically means like a 30-day free trial is what I did, where a potential client can test me out, where I would do free work for about a month. And if they liked the work I was doing after that 1 month, I would get on a call with them and try to convince them to sign me as their email or SMS marketing agency, which is what I was mainly focused on. I ended up signing some people for some social media marketing as well, because I have a background in that from school and from internships. But my main forte was email and SMS, which is the skill I learned at my old agency. So around September, my fiance and I are hardcore starting to plan our travels and getting ready to move out of our beautiful San Diego apartment. It was honestly kind of chaotic because I was working 9 to 5 at my old agency and then 5 to like midnight on my agency. So it was long days, long hours, but it was so worth it, because around September, I decided to quit my job and just send it. I had 2 paying clients at that point. Obviously, it did not replace the income I had from my old agency, and I knew there was more work that needed to be put in, but I felt like I was in a good enough position to be able to at least support myself a little bit, and I really just wanted to get my time back and really focus on my agency. So I ended up spending about another month at my old agency, so I officially left in October of 2024. And I was finally full-time working on my business, which was so exciting because it was only about a year and a half after graduation. I could call myself a business owner and an entrepreneur. It was honestly very fulfilling. So around October till January, my fiance and I are really planning our 2025 travels, getting all of our shit in check, essentially. And I'm also trying to build my client list. And so I did a lot of networking with other agencies in the area. I actually made a friend from my old company, the old agency I was working at, that ended up starting his own agency. And I got a client through that. So networking works, guys. I know you hate it. I hate it too. But if you have a friend in the space, utilize those connections, help each other out. I also did a lot of LinkedIn self-promoting, and that really kind of just built my own personal brand presence, which was great because another agency tried to hire me actually. And I let them know that, hey, I'm not looking for a job, I'm looking for clients if you know anybody. And they actually ended up referring a client to me, which became one of my highest paying clients to date. So really build upon your network online and in person. It can do you wonders, and you don't even have to do outreach yourself to get clients. It's awesome. So around January, I was like really in a good position with my client base, and I really just had to focus on getting out of my beautiful San Diego apartment, is how I will always refer to it, and really just maintaining my clientele. We moved out of our apartment in March of 2025, about a month. Wow, it's crazy. About a month and a half ago at this point. I still have all my clients that I've signed from back in August till now. I'm just maintaining those clients, and I'm also working on building up my clientele. Luckily, when you're traveling, cost of living is much lower than it would be in the US, so I'm not in a space where I need clients, but I want clients, you know? I want to build my business. So if you have that mindset, you put the pieces in place to be able to do that, you will. So that's how I got to this point. Now I am traveling across Southeast Asia. I am currently in Vietnam, and we were just in Japan. We're going to be going to Malaysia and Bali and Thailand, and I'm super excited. And that's all just this year. We're planning on going to South America, Europe, and parts of Africa next year. So we're really just on our world tour, working on our own businesses, and I couldn't be happier. My biggest piece of advice is if you think there's something else out there for you, really take the time to write it down and really be specific on what you envision in your life and move backwards. Really figure out what it takes to get to that point and then just do it. I'm serious. I knew I wanted to travel and be a business owner, so I did what it took to be able to get to that spot. And I'm not trying to say I have it all figured out. I'm still figuring it out every day. I still feel anxious from time to time because I don't know if what I'm doing is right. But I do feel comfort in the fact that I am the master of my own life. So I hope this helps you. I hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration. And live your life to the fullest. It's your life. You only have one of them. Don't let anybody else control your narrative.